Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Financial Advisors Workshop. It's a four-star media production, and the Financial Advisor Workshop is designed specifically to get to know our industry and to get to know the top players in our industry and what they're doing and why they're doing it. And we just had a really good conversation with Brian Sweet, and Brian is one of the senior guys. Now, I'm in the industry quite a while, but you're actually in longer than I am, Brian, aren't you?
Well, we're close. Yes, I might have a little time on you.
Good. Okay. Well, welcome to the Financial Advisor Workshop, Brian.
Great to be here.
And so we were just talking about your mission and your reasons for doing a lot of interesting things. So tell us about your firm, and then how you built your practice and everything, and then let's talk about what you're doing today after that.
Yeah, sounds great, Brian. So I've been fortunate to be in this great industry for my 43rd year. And I like to say, I started when I was 6, but that's pretty easy to see that's not true.
Right.
Started in the insurance side of things back then, and then slowly gravitated more to the wealth management side. I've been very fortunate to create a really amazing team of 18 of us that we operate in a little town of Fairmont, Minnesota. Population 10,000, but we do work with clients in 35 different states.
Wow. So how far is Fairmont from like Minneapolis? Is it nearby or?
Yeah, it'd be 2.5 hours south. If anybody's ever heard of the Mayo Clinic.
Yes.
We're on Interstate 90, about an hour and 45 minutes west of there. And
okay.
That's, another way of knowing where Fairmont is. Seems like a lot of people have heard of the Mayo.
Okay, yeah. Well, and I know you're just north of Iowa there. There's a lot going on in Iowa. So it's quite a bustling area of the country that a lot of people aren't aware of.
Big farming area for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, great. So then how big is your practice? How many people? Tell us about the size, scope, all that. You said 35 states. That's a lot of states.
Yeah. So we're just a little short of $1 billion of assets that we manage, and we have about 1,100 clients.
Okay, great. And is it really all your practice, or are there other advisors?
Well, we have 5 advisors total, and as we've grown, I've just, I acquired all the clients initially, and then we've just gravitated by, freeing up my time by getting other advisors to, take over some other types of clients. And so nowadays, the other advisors can bring in new clients, but I am still maybe the primary rainmaker.
Okay. So they're kind of developing some of their own practice. Have they done that too, or has that really not been part of the?
Well, all our clients are clients of Sweet Financial Partners. So to say anybody's got individual practices isn't really the case. We're really a team orientation. The advisors get paid on the business that they take care of, but if one of us was sick and we needed somebody to cover an appointment, each of our advisors just jumps in and does stuff like that. So we'll really try to keep a big team mentality versus, these are the only people that I care about.
Right. That kind of thing. That's great. And how big is your, so you have a big support staff too?
Yeah. I have 17 support staff. And then if you add me, we have 18 total. Wow.
Okay. Wow. That's amazing. Okay, great. So, and how do you guys do it? Are you financial planning based?
Very much so.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Started in the insurance industry, but pretty much all, wealth management, financial planning. About 10 or 12 years ago, we created a trademark process called the Dream Architect.
Okay.
And for all new clients, that's the process that they go through.
So tell us about Dream Architect. We talked a little bit about that, but share that with our listeners. So that sounds fascinating.
Yeah, it's our 4-step process that we have clients go through. It starts with a visioning exercise, and then there's the blueprinting component. And then once we figure that out, then we help them build the plan. And then the final step is maintenance, just to make sure they always stay on track. And so just to, be different and differentiate ourselves, we named it the Dream Architect. And if you noticed, all the terms or all the steps are kind of like building terms.
Right. And then dreaming.
And
Which is
dreaming,
good.
yeah. Yeah, it's one of the things that we have found pretty consistently is when you're a young person, everybody wanted to be a fireman or an astronaut, or anything was possible. And I don't know what happens, but over time, that kind of goes away, and you just let life happen to you instead of make it happen. And so one of the things we try to do is energize people to make a better life and think outside the box, as you only get one shot at life. So probably want to make it as good of a shot as you possibly can, and kind of reinvigorate those young thoughts again.
Yeah. So do you manage money as well, Brian, or do you place money with like other managers and people like that?
No, we typically have our own models that we utilize with our clients. And so we have some outside OCIOs that we hire to help us the proper investment allocations, but we typically have models and use a fully discretionary platform.
Okay. Okay. And now you've been named to the best in state list, top 5,000 private companies. I mean, you've been listed in so many great areas. And so now, you've got incredible credentials, but you've taken it to another level. You've got a whole new training program that you're developing right now. Is that right?
Yeah, what we have found is just doing this a really long time. We found that, we were extremely helpful and successful in getting clients to the wealth component. But
Right.
one of the things that we found is there were 4 other things that we continually found clients having difficulties with. And so in wanting to help them overcome those issues, which actually are kind of outside of wealth management, we're creating a new version or a new platform called the Dream Architect Life. And so it's got 5 pillars. The first pillar is wealth, because that's what we've done for 43 years. But we're also going to help them with the other pillars, which is one is purpose. What we found is a lot of times clients, especially business owners, get so wrapped up in who they are, their job, their title, the people that they got to associate with. And when you retire or go on to your next chapter, a lot of times people haven't planned for that. And there's some amazing difficulty. You might golf, every day for a year, and then what do you do? And it gets pretty boring sitting around watching Oprah reruns all the time. So we've collaborated with lots of different sources to help people understand their why and help them make that transition easier. The second is health and longevity. So if you had all the money in the world, but then your health wasn't there, what good is the money? And my favorite saying is, he who has his health has 1,000 wishes, and he
Right.
who doesn't has one. And
Right.
so there are just so many things today that you can do other than take prescription medications or have surgery.
Right.
And we want to make sure people are aware of them. I know personally in the doctors locally, if you go in for a checkup, the only thing that they tell you is it's kind of like sick care. You go there after you're not feeling good. It's not really preventative. And then it's either here's these medications or we can cut you open and do surgery. There's so much more you can do, body and brain scans. You can do stem cell. There's age reduction doctors, sleep doctors, and all of those things are preventative. And an interesting statistic is 80% of the people age 40 and older have some asymptomatic issue going on in their body. You just don't know about it. So if you were looking and got the preventative stuff done, a lot of the problems that you ultimately will end up with could have been prevented. So we want to make people aware of that. Another another pillar is legacy. So this is just helping people transition their values to their family and or what we have found is a lot of people want to be charitably inclined, but they just don't have the comfort level to do it until they pass away because
Right.
they're afraid that they'll run out of money.
Right.
And so we want to be able to show them ways where they can actually have their cake and eat it too, where they can enjoy the gifts that they've given, but not necessarily destroy their, cash flow and methodologies. And then the fifth one is experience. So you get a lot of people that work diligently, work really hard, saved all this money, but that's all they did. And so they never got to create any experiences in their life, i.e. they never did a lot of dreaming or work towards their bucket list. And so part of the experiences is one is getting them to think a little bit outside the box, get them to think more like when they were a child. And second is just be a resource to help people create amazing experiences, whether they be travel opportunities or just to give you a crazy example, we've got a person that literally can accomplish probably anything you could ever come up with. And so one that he did do is if you wanted to sing on stage with Bruce Springsteen, for example, or any artist, this can get done. Now, it might cost you quite a bit to get that done, but we've created these collaborations so that just anything that somebody would like to do, because life's all about experiences. And so the more of those you can have to look back on, typically we find that's the better life that people have.
Nice. So now you have these five areas that you're going to focus on. How are you bringing this out to investors and to the public?
Oh,
I know there's a whole program.
Yeah, great question. So the platform hasn't been built yet, but we're in the process of finalizing it. But it's going to be a 3-day immersive event. They'll be at different parts of the country. The first one is, we already know where that's at. It's going to be in Dallas. And each one of the immersives is going to cover all 5 pillars, but it'll do a deep dive in one area. So the first one is going to be a little more emphasis on health and longevity. And so the people that will attend will get body and brain scans. They'll be introduced to an age reduction doctor. We'll have sleep doctor there. And then we'll also have, the other pillars and people there to talk about that. And then at some point, we'll create a version of it where you can actually get this information in like a webinar format or video format, so that if you don't want to travel, you'll be able to also get that. But the immersive is the first platform that we're building.
Nice. So now, why did you pick Dallas if you're in Minnesota?
Yeah, Dallas is where the brain and body scan doctor is that we're using. There's Advanced Longevity is the name of the company. I've been fortunate to meet a gentleman by the name of Steve Marler, who's the brainchild behind that concept. They've done 65,000 brain and body scans and one of the leading experts in the world on that topic.
Very interesting. So do you plan to do it in other cities?
Yeah, we're going to be doing it all over the country, and maybe even to create an experience, maybe even outside the United States.
Very interesting. Well, good. And that's something that's very uniquely American. We look at our plans and we decide to do things, and it doesn't seem like they're doing that quite around the world, but that's really great. So, Bri, how many clients do you think will want to go through this out of your current client base?
I think how we're building this, and there's going to be obviously a cost involved. It'll be, maybe the little higher net worth clients. So I have been discussing it with them in advance so that if they want to be the first ones to participate in the initial launch of that, they can. And so I've actually talked to 6 of our clients that I think would fit, and all 6 said they absolutely wanted to participate. And this will actually open this up to also non-clients.
Right.
And, it's just information that people need to probably know or would like to know.
Mhm.
But, we're going to offer it to our client base, initially first, and then we'll, expand from there, I guess.
Nice. Now you have a foundation too, right?
I actually created a couple of them. One
Oh
is in
boy.
honor of my mom.
Okay.
And when my mom was divorced when I was 3. My dad never paid any alimony. I saw my dad once since 3 years old, and that was at his mom's funeral, which he left early from. So just to kind of tell you the guy he was. So it's really great that he wasn't part of my life. But my mom did a lot with a little. And so and she's still living, she's in memory care now, but while she was living,
Okay.
I created a foundation that helps single moms send their kids to college. And then we would then take the kids to lunch, and my mom would get to meet them while she could. And that brought a big smile to her face. And it's just my way of giving back to my mom for all the sacrifices that she's done. And then my aunt and uncle were very instrumental in kind of serving a role. She was a principal, and then he was a business owner, and he taught me amazing skills to be a great business owner. And she taught me the value of education. So when they passed away, their little town of Blue Earth, Minnesota was near and dear to them. And so I created a foundation that that town can, use it for whatever purpose to continue to make the town thrive.
Nice. And now is that the Roy and Jean Yeager Foundation?
Yep, that's the Roy
That's
and
the other
Jean
one.
Yeager
Yeah.
Foundation. Yep.
Okay, great. Now, all right. Now, you said there's a third one too?
Well, I just have my own that I've created where I just, give money out to things that I find important myself. But yeah, the others are really more specific. The town of Blue Earth gets to do what they want to. And then I've hooked up with Dollars for Scholars, and they're the ones that pick the kids and the families that get the college one.
Nice. So Brian, when you started the business, were you from wealth at all? Did you know a lot of wealthy people? No. Okay. So
No.
you started from a standing start, and you built now 43 years, $1 billion firm with a staff of 17. Would you do it again the same way? Can you think of how you did it, and what would you do differently?
Yeah, to be honest, I probably wouldn't do a lot differently because I've been extremely happy with the outcome. And
Yeah.
I always think things happen for you and not to you. So a lot of things happen, and I've had a lot of mentors, and I've always been a big thing on learning and education. So I've been study groups and masterminds and coaching things, and
Right.
continually do it today. I'm in 2 masterminds, 2 study groups. I have my own mastermind coaching thing, and so I kind of eat my own cooking, if you will. But what I found is, if you look at somebody and emulate somebody more successful than you, success leaves clues. And if you just continually do what somebody else has done that's work that you feel, boy, that'd be beneficial to the firm or be beneficial to clients. And then you just keep doing that continually,
Over and over.
it's one step at a time, and then all of a sudden things tend to blossom. But it's definitely not an overnight success. But this
Right.
business is you play the long game, and it's probably the best industry you could ever find.
Yeah, I think many of us agree on that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So now, you started in 79, I started in 84. So that was a long time ago, totally different circumstances. What would you suggest to the new financial advisor today? So many of our colleagues are new. They're kind of 4 years in the business, 10 years in the business. And they're seeing totally different things than you saw and I saw.
Yeah.
What would you suggest to them today?
Well, I would always look for, to connect and stay in touch with people more successful or that you would like to emulate. And,
Mhm.
I would either reach out to them or try to be involved in classes or courses that they're part of. And I would also say, attitude will get you everywhere, and you got to have confidence in what you do, and because it will show with clients if you're a little bit down in the dumps or whatnot, because the clients will do really whatever you say if they feel you're excited about whatever you shared with them. And so creating some kind of a methodology, whether it's positive affirmations or whatever, that when something bad goes, don't look at it as a negative. Look at it as either a learning experience or, giving you the clues on how to do it better next time. And if you
Mhm.
could develop that skill set, that I think would be very helpful. And then I think people give up too quickly. So just look at everything that doesn't go well as a learning, but stick with it. And but
Mhm.
you got to work your tail off. If you don't take action on things, nothing will happen. But you're responsible for yourself, and you just need to, take words and ideas from people that have already been there or where you want. And if you can
Mhm.
emulate some of those things, it's very helpful.
Are there any particular tools like financial planning or risk analysis or family planning or philanthropy? Any particular out today? No?
I lost you on that, Brian.
Oh,
You
I
just
said, are there any particular tools that you would use now? Would it be financial planning, risk analysis? Would it be family planning? What kinds of things would you emphasize today as the best way to build a business in today's market?
great question. I think, at least this would be my opinion, is if you make your interviews or your discussions with potential clients or clients all about them, finding out what their problems and what their concerns are,
Mhm.
that's gonna take you very, very far, because they really only care about themselves. And then if you can be the person that helps them solve those problems or those
Mhm.
concerns, that's really, really helpful. I will tell you the one thing that we do that just really resonates is we do tax planning. And so we spend a lot of time on their tax returns. And I will tell you, if you ever dig into that subject, the tax returns are done right, but no one does any pre-planning the year before. And they miss all sorts of deductions and things that they can do. And you absolutely, because everybody hates to pay too much in tax. And if you can be the person that shows them the savings.
What do you think about the investing world today? Any comments on that? The market's been really bad. What do people do now? Is it any different than when you started, or is there a regular pattern you'd follow?
Yeah, I would say it's not really any different. I mean, we've always just been a very big believer in diversification. We would
Okay.
use more alternatives today than we probably ever have. And then for our really high net worth clients, a lot of private equity or, private market things where, they can't normally get it just off the stock exchange. But um, I think the key is just educating your clients. So we rarely get phone calls when the markets do things. We try to train our clients to look at these market declines as opportunities and not negative. And all of our clients have time frames. So we tie everything to, their dreams or their goals. And so they're never going to be in a position unless they didn't tell us something or something, unexpected happened where they ever need to take money out of an account when they wouldn't want to. And as long as you understand that platform, the long-term monies are not now. And so it doesn't matter if the markets are going up or going down. And
Mhm.
matter of fact, if I got some extra cash, that's actually a great opportunity because I can now buy it at a lot lesser price. And And if you got that mindset, every time the market's down, it's an opportunity to do better versus, gee, things are bad.
Yeah. And Brian, do you think we're done with this big decline and the economy is going to start to recover from here? Or do you think there's rough road ahead from today here in August 24th?
We're at the end of August here. So I would say my personal opinion is we'll probably be a little choppy or stagnant for, maybe a couple of months. And historically, September and October are the worst 2 months of the year. I don't see that maybe being any different, especially since we've had this little run up since June 16th. Got the election stuff going on. But I would say, I think there's a greater than, 50% chance that the markets are higher at the end of the year than they are right today. And I think, we're starting to see some symbols that inflation isn't going to keep going up and that maybe we've capped it and it's starting to make the right decline. But, the Federal Reserve still can make some changes that the markets may not like, and that could throw that off. But so I'm fairly optimistic.
Nice. Well, great. Well, thanks for your insights into the economy and the markets. So, Brian, I know our listeners will be interested to see how your program develops over time. And so we'll check in with you later on to see how it is and see if others can participate.
Sounds great.
That'd be great.
Appreciate you sharing that.
Yes. And thank you. Thanks for being with us, Brian. If there's any other message that you'd like to send to the financial advisors of America, we'll probably have 1,000 people see this. And you're on stage and you're talking to all these advisors right now. What would you say?
I would probably just to reiterate something I said earlier is especially if it's a younger, not as seasoned group as maybe you and I, is use things that don't go well or look at them as learning opportunities and don't look at them as negative consequences. So I have two things happen in my life. I either won and it went the way that I expected, or I learned something. I never have a failure. And if you have that mindset, it just keeps you energized to keep moving forward. If you take the negative path that, gee, I flunked, I didn't do good, you stick that in your brain for too long, and pretty soon that causes you not to do anything, or pretty soon you're out of the industry. So just look at that as these learning opportunities. And I would say if you could do those things and make sure you don't stay in the dumps for more than a few seconds and figure out the way that you can get out, whether that's, saying positive affirmations or whatever it works for you, that'll be immensely good.
Excellent. Great inspiration, great advice to everyone. And I tell you what, if people follow your path, we're going to have one hell of a successful industry because you clearly have done it yourself.
Well,
so
very
thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks for being with us today in the Financial Advisors Workshop. And we're going to leave it there. We will be back with another great interview with someone really smart like Brian and hopefully very inspirational, so we can all learn from each other in the financial advisors industry. So thank you, Brian. Thanks for being with us.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.